Hi, this is Chris Woodward, Executive Editor for Sport Fishing. I'm sitting down with Costa sponsored pro captain Benny Blanco today to talk about sunglasses for skinny water fishing. Benny guides out of South Florida. He fishes the major shallow water tournaments and he advocates and educates for captains for clean water. Welcome to the Fishing Roundtable, Benny.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's such an honor to be here.
Great. Listen, I know that you fish primarily in Florida Bay, which is just south of the Florida Everglades. For viewers that are unfamiliar with that region, can you tell us a little bit about your fishery, what species you chase, what the water depths are like, and what the clarity is like?
Absolutely. Florida Bay actually isn't just inside Everglades National Park. It's the southern boundary. It's actually the receiver of all that beautiful fresh water that comes out of the Everglades. And I also guide in Biscayne Bay, which is also a receiver of fresh water that comes out of the Everglades. On any given day, I won't be in any greater depth than 2 feet of water.
Wow.
In most cases, I'll be less than a foot of water. And we are targeting the big five, which in the fly fishing world or the skinny water world are the top five species: tarpon, permit, bonefish, snook, and redfish. And Florida Bay is the only place on the planet where you could target all five on any given day. I feel very honored to be able to fish there, to guide there, to fish there since I was very young, and I protect it with my life.
So you said the depths rarely get over 2 feet. What's the water clarity like? Is it frequently stirred up? Is it crystal clear? What's it like where you fish?
Well, that's the $1 million question. I mean, I'm a sight fisherman. We want to be sight fishing all the time, so we are constantly striving to be in clean water. When you're in the Everglades side and Florida Bay side, we do deal with a brackish situation where water can be darker. It can be stirred up because there's a lot of water movement, and because it's also an east-west fishery, it's exposed to a south and a north wind, which means that we are dealing with some turbulent water sometimes. But for the most part, we want to be in water where we can see. Now, that being said, between Florida Bay and Biscayne Bay, we have a variety of different water colors and bottom colors, and the color of your lens and the type of mirroring you have on your lens will absolutely affect how you can see or what you can see in the water.
Okay, well, when did you start wearing Costas and why did you choose Costa?
Well, I started fishing Costas probably about 12 years ago. I very much remember the time when I switched, and it had everything to do with the fact that Costa was the only company that was talking about conservation, that was talking about sustainability, that was talking about how we have to do the right thing in order to keep these places special and protected. And that was very, very important to me. I grew up fishing in very special places, and I've been watching them slowly degrade over time. And I just knew that at some point somebody needed to speak up. And that was a very conscious decision on my part. Once I made the switch and I put them on my first Costas, the ability to look through 580 lenses was mind blowing to me. All of a sudden I was able to see farther, see clearer. And I'm so glad I made the switch, because now I'm with a company that absolutely puts their money where their mouth is when it comes to conservation and sustainability. And the lenses are second to none.
What about polarization? Obviously, all coasters are polarized, correct? What does the polarization actually do for you when you're trying to fish in shallow water?
That's a very good question. A lot of companies claim polarization, and there's a certain percentage of the lens that needs to be polarized in order to say that. Costas are 100% polarized lenses. That means you have the clearest vision all the time. Polarization helps protect your eyes from UV light, the worst of which being blue light. And blue light are shortwave UVs. So anybody who's on the water every day or fishes all the time or is using their eyes to see in the water are the most exposed to those UV rays, and those UV rays damage our eyes over time. Long exposure to blue light can cause issues like, blurred vision, short-sightedness. And, if you're a guide and you depend on your eyes, like I do every single day, protecting them should be your number one priority. So having 100% of polarized lenses is crucial to my livelihood, my business, and my life.
Yeah, I think I even heard from a doctor one time that ultraviolet light can encourage formation of cataracts. I'm not going to claim to be a scientist or a doctor, so I'm not going to tell you that's verified, but that was one thing that I did hear along and along. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard that too. And, frankly, I don't ever want to be that test pupil.
Yeah.
So I wear my glasses religiously. Not only do they help me see, obviously, and I need to see to make my clients, just put my clients on fish, but I also need to see for everyday life, obviously, and having the best UV protection is crucial. I mean, and you can tell, I go to the beach occasionally with my kids and we'll take the glasses off to play in the water all day. And at the end of the day, my eyes are tired. And it's only because I didn't wear my glasses that day. And so I wear them religiously in the car, on the boat, on the water, on the beach now, whenever possible.
What frames do you prefer for skinny water fishing and why?
I like frames that have excellent wraparound coverage. When you're trying to see in the water, through the water, you're trying to pick up fish like bonefish and permit that are, they've built their entire careers on making us miss them and sliding by us. And so I want to have lenses and frames that protect from any other extraneous light. And so I will teeter totter between Blackfin Pros and the Fantail Pros. And I'll show you a couple. These are the Fantail Pros. You can catch me wearing those most of the time. I like the Fantails because they're low profile. They have excellent wraparound, so you don't have any light that comes in from either side. The Pro Series are crucial for me because there's so many advantages. The nose guards that extend forward, so if you have a day when there's zero wind and you have the high probability of fogging up, you can push the lenses actually away from your face, and it allows airflow and keeps you from fogging up. There's hooding, there's channeling so that the sweat beads off of your face. And there's so many crucial elements to a frame like this that are necessary for guides to stay active on the polling platform, looking for fish the whole time instead of cleaning your lens and adjusting all the time. Huge deal. I very much like to have copper lenses. I believe copper lenses are crucial for the water that I fish, to have the flexibility to go from brackish to blue water. It eliminates a lot of the colors that I don't need to see and accentuates the colors I need to see. So if I have a situation where I've got frames that protect me from the extraneous light and the lenses that help me see through the water at the things I need to see for these fish, then I've got the advantage over everybody else.
Do you ever use the sunrise lenses that I know Costa has that are sort of a yellowish hue?
I do. I rely on them a lot. It seems like we have more and more days when we don't have perfect sunlight. And when you don't have perfect sunlight, you often feel handcuffed. You can't see in the water where you want to see. You've got extra glare. You have clouds that are blocking sunlight. And so you need to be able to see in the water without having extra light. Those sunrise mirror lenses absolutely give you better vision when there isn't good light. I can think of a number of tournaments that we wouldn't have even been competitive if we weren't wearing sunrise mirror lenses.
So for skinny water fishing, copper lenses and sunrise mirror lenses are really your two go-to types of lenses, or do you use any others?
Yes, ma'am. I will sometimes go to a blue lens when we target tarpon in the ocean. There are certain areas that the bottom and the color of the water are such that the blue lens gives me a little bit more advantage. My go-to lenses are, without a doubt, the sunrise silver mirror and the copper with either a silver mirror or a blue mirror, but a copper base.
What about glass versus polycarbonate in 580? Which do you prefer and use?
So for me, the biggest difference is the weight. A glass lens is definitely going to be heavier than a polycarbonate. That's why polycarbonates exist, because they're lighter, which means it's less stress on your face. In the wintertime, in the springtime, in the fall time, I don't put anything but glass on my face. It is absolutely crisper. You can see better. The lenses work better. There is no doubt. However, in the summertime down here, we deal with extreme heats, and just that little bit of extra weight on your face over a long period of time during the day will definitely cause headaches. And it just is how it is. And there's no way to get around it, except you can go to polycarbonate. And so you maybe lose a little bit of crispness in your viz, but you gain the ability to fish all day and not have to worry about these heavy lenses on your face.
Costa was among the first companies, not just sunglass companies, but marine industry companies, to focus on using sustainable materials in manufacturing processes. And that's kind of a common theme today. Lots and lots of people have jumped on that bandwagon that Costa kind of got started. Costa makes bioresin frames for most of its glasses. Can you explain a little bit about what that bioresin is and what it does?
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for Costa leading the way in that regard. I feel like as an ambassador in the industry, we have to hold our partners accountable for the footprint that they leave. And Costa is setting that example. They are leading it, and that's just amazing. So the bioresin, it sounds super interesting, but it's really not that technical. It's made from castor seeds, which they turn into castor oil, and that produces a bioresin. What's different than most glasses is that most glasses come from petroleum-based resin, which is oil, and the carbon output for oil-based resin is, exponentially larger than that of a bioresin. And that's not even talking about the back end for recyclable options and sustainability. It's just more about carbon footprint, and that's huge. Right now, we have more people every single day, and we have our carbon footprint increases along with our ability to sequester carbon in the atmosphere is decreasing. We're losing green space above and below the water. And so we have to sincerely, in every aspect of life, really consider what our carbon footprint is. And the bioresin is just the way better option. We're talking about exponentially decreasing our footprint from a carbon output perspective. And, the Costa frames are at the very least made of carbon bioresin.
Right.
And then, obviously they have the new Untangled series. They just won a Best in Show at ICAST with the Untangled series. Untangled is a partnership with Costa and a company called Borreo, where they repurpose discarded nets from Chile, and they recycle them and strip them down to a bare mineral pellet, basically, that they're able to turn into a resin and turn into sunglasses. And it's it's awesome product. I mean, it's soft, it's light. You can tell that you just feel like you're doing something right when you wear those glasses as opposed to something else. And to know that the glasses in its entirety are 97% recyclable. I mean, that's epic. That's the kind of stuff we need to see from this industry. And I'm so grateful to be associated with a company that's setting those boundaries and leading the way and showing people that it's possible, not only to do it, but to make an excellent product that could win Best in Show. I mean, that's a huge bar and a high bar to set. The new Untangled series is pretty great. I've actually had the opportunity to wear these guys for the last few weeks. These are the Santiagos, and they have pretty good wraparound coverage. When you wear them, they fit on your face really, really well. They obviously have great lens coverage, and I've had no problem seeing the fish I need to see. They look good, they feel good, they're light, like we said, and like I said, you just feel like you're doing something good by wearing glasses that are recyclable, and just setting the example for the whole industry. It's pretty awesome.
I noticed too that on two of the sunglasses that you've put on, you have blue mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So are those copper lenses with blue mirrors on the front?
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
a lot of the glasses that I wear in Biscayne Bay, which is for reference, is the opposite of the Everglades in many respects. It's blue water, green water, white bottom, different color grass. And the blue lenses, I feel like, help me quite a bit in that kind of water scenario see fish better. It's also species change. In the glades, we are looking for big tarpon that are dark and snook and redfish, and the colors are different. In Biscayne Bay, we're on white bottom looking for bonefish and permit and tarpon that are literally mirrors in the water. And so having that blue mirror on the lens, on a copper lens, actually, in my case, give me the advantage, I believe.
Florida itself, and obviously you being in the middle of some of the most affected zones in Florida, There have been so many water problems going on, so many issues about clean water for fishing, Everglades to Florida Bay flow. There are just a number of different environmental concerns that are going on down there. What's the importance that you see for clean water for fishing, and what can people do to help keep fisheries thriving?
I'm so glad you asked. Honestly, that's all I care to talk about most of the time these days. What does clean water mean to me? I mean, in Florida, clean water should be our number one priority for anyone who lives here. Anyone who comes to visit here, anyone who's ever visited or plans to visit Florida should be helping us scream from the rooftops that water and our environment are number one priority. If we don't have clean water, then we don't have healthy fisheries. If we don't have clean water, our property values go down. If we don't have clean water, no one comes to Florida. I mean, let's face it. When you think of Florida, you think of beaches and sunshine, and right now all of that is at risk, and it's being attacked from multiple angles. Everything from an unhealthy Everglades and redirected water flow to sprawling urban development and our inability to manage stormwater runoff and wastewater runoff, and the high nutrients that we have in our soils and our waterways is we're killing ourselves from inside out. And there's a number of things that people can do. Right off the bat, join organizations like Captains for Clean Water, buy a hat, sign up for a newsletter, learn about all the things that are affecting our watersheds. Everglades Foundation, Bonefish and Tarpon Trust, the Waterkeeper Alliances. There's one on every major fishery in the state of Florida. Learning is like 95% of the battle. This whole thing is about educating ourselves because we all have a hand in the problems. And, everything from how we discard our trash, the plastic we use, the water we use, the things we put in our lawns, how we clean our vehicles, the suntan lotion we put on our skin, everything affects the water here in the state of Florida. And we all have a responsibility to do better. Now we know better. We have the science. It's widespread and easily attainable through the internet and through all these wonderful organizations. Now that we know better, we have to do better. And if we do better right now, we have a chance of saving it.
Now, Costa has also been involved in supporting Captains for Clean Water. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Costa was one of the first companies to jump on board the second the Captains was formulated. They recognized early on that, grassroots, blue-collar guides who just needed a platform to speak, they needed industry support, and Costa was one of the first ones. And they continue to help us, amplify that voice. In every aspect, whether it's Tallahassee or Washington, D.C., or a TV show or an opportunity for promotion and on their social channels. Companies like Costa and a number of others are starting to understand that we are, it's important for us to speak up and to use the platforms we've created so that we can educate those around us.
Exactly. Well, everybody out there can do their part and should go to captainsforcleanwater.com. Is that right? And learn about that organization.
Captainsforcleanwater.org.
.org. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
there you go. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us on Fishing Roundtable today, Captain. Hope you have a great rest of your summer, and catch them up out there.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate that.